Hi, I'm John McAuliffe, Chief Marketing Officer of VFM Leonardo, and welcome to the VTV channel. Today we have Karen Plumb from TripAdvisor with us. Karen is the Commercial Director leading the Business Listings commercial team in EMEA for TripAdvisor's business division. She leads sales, marketing, and product enhancement campaigns aimed at hoteliers, B&Bs, and other accommodation providers throughout the region. Karen has a wealth of experience, having worked in the hotel industry at both Intercontinental Hotels and Thistle Hotels before moving into the online media environment at Cheap Flights. Most recently, Karen was at Pegasus Solutions, where she was responsible for hotel and e-marketing for UTEL Hotels and Resorts. Karen, thank you for joining us on VTV and welcome.
Thank you, John. It's a pleasure to speak to you.
Certainly, TripAdvisor and reviews are a major topic with hoteliers, and our episode today is going to talk about the best practices that hoteliers should use for monitoring, responding, and encouraging reviews on TripAdvisor. In your opinion, what are some tips and best practices that you can share with hoteliers on how they can monitor, leverage reviews on TripAdvisor?
Yeah, the one thing we know is reviews are hugely influential for people making travel decisions. I think in a review, a survey at the end of last year, MSNBC said 86% of travellers are influenced by reviews. So we do realise the impact they have. And the other things before I get into the tips is just to reassure people that actually more reviews are positive than on TripAdvisor than are negative. In fact, out of the scale of 1 to 5 for a TripAdvisor review, 72% are a 4 or a 5. In fact, the average review for a hotel is just under 4 at 3.85. And that's a trend that's been growing, and things are actually becoming more and more positive after time. But the one thing we do want hoteliers to do is to engage in the reviews. So we give them the opportunity to post management responses, which sits right against a review on the TripAdvisor page. So in effect, we're giving the hoteliers the last word in any conversation. But there are various tips and tricks, as you say, the best way to use this. And the one thing we say is don't ignore reviews, respond, and in fact, acknowledge the good, but also acknowledge the bad. And people are hugely reassured when they see these other management responses on the site. And it's good to say thank you to a positive review, but it's also good to acknowledge a bad review and perhaps put your side of the story across, or comment on what you've done to take action on how you've improved things. And a well-worded response to a bad review can actually turn into a sales tool for the property, because people just see that it's a hotel that listens to their travellers and take notes, which gives a really good professional opinion. But the one thing I say is you don't have to respond to every single review. You can choose the reviews to respond to that where you've got actually something proactive and constructive to say. And the other thing to say, that one way to make it easier is through the TripAdvisor Owner Centre, which I'd encourage every hotelier to go in and register. Hoteliers can subscribe to an email where we send an email to their inbox directly when we're publishing a review on their property. So that's an immediate time saver in that they don't have to keep coming back to the TripAdvisor site to see what's been said. We will actually push the emails to the hotelier, and within the email there's all the tools and tips that they can use to either respond to the review, or they can obviously forward it to all their co-workers to share good news for a good review as well.
Right, there's a couple of interesting points that you had there, Karen, one of which was the difference between positive and negative reviews, and I think you had mentioned that it's as important to respond to positive as it is to negative. Can you help us understand why?
Well, I think it's always good to say thank you. There's nothing wrong to be, but also it's a good thing to help perhaps reinforce a message in a positive review. So it could be that somebody's talking about the restaurant experience, and the management response could be something like, I'm glad you had a great time in our newly refurbished restaurant. So it's a good way to add some subtle marketing messages and to reinforce the points. So again, a management response is not just being read by the person who wrote the review, it's being read by everyone who's looking at the reviews on that page. So it's a great opportunity to say thank you and to reinforce some messaging as well. Obviously, a management response cannot be overtly commercial, and we certainly don't encourage that, and in fact it's against our guidelines, but it's certainly a good place to add a few messages.
Right. I think that's one of the things that hoteliers struggle with when they're in an environment that is primarily user-generated content, which is, you know, the foundations of TripAdvisor, is that you look at the hotel's page on TripAdvisor and you go, this is a great story told by other consumers. How, as a hotelier, can I manage the story that I want to tell about my hotel in that kind of an environment?
Well, I think the best thing a hotelier can do is to give great service and give their guests the experience that the guests expect, and I think then they've got nothing to be scared of from user-generated content.
Right, but is there an opportunity for me to be able to use that user-generated content to tell the story through my lens? I think, you know, the example that you had provided was if your hotel happens to have a fabulous restaurant, that's one of the features of your hotel that is attractive and one of your unique selling propositions. Looking for reviews on the restaurant that are positive and being able to you know, seed in little words about it being refurbished, or perhaps the chef's name if it's a well-known chef, etc. Is that an opportunity for hoteliers to actually steer the conversation a little bit?
No, I think generally when we ask people to post reviews, it's about the overall experience. But if there's a certain theme running through reviews, we do generally at the top of a page of reviews pick out the key words or the key phrases that are used a lot. So if everyone is talking about the restaurant, that will be highlighted. But the overall thing about review is about the whole experience. And we ask people, a review is just not a general, that is a general thing where people can score down to different criteria, be it the quality of sleep, the quality of the housekeeping, and food and beverage. So a review is broken up into the various subcomponents. So it should be about the whole experience, not about the specific thing. But as I said, if there is a common theme that runs, if everyone's eating at the restaurant and is blown away by it and has a fantastic time, that will come out in the summary of reviews.
Right. How, as a hotelier, can I encourage my guests to write reviews about my hotel?
Yeah, we actually encourage hotels to do this. Obviously, they cannot incentivize or offer any sort of rewards for writing reviews. In fact, we condone that. But the more reviews a hotelier has, the better, because obviously the more recent reviews count more on the TripAdvisor site, but also to travellers, because the more they want to see what other people have had in the more recent times. So in the TripAdvisor Owner Centre, there's various tools such as cards to hand out, codes to send in post-stay emails, or little widgets to put on the hotel's own website, all to encourage people. But there's generally ask is the best way, but usually in a post-stay email works very well. So that's the thing. A lot of hoteliers seem to be a bit shy about asking, but we'd say that's the best way.
And how can I leverage the reviews? Obviously, there's, as you mentioned, most of the reviews on TripAdvisor are positive, and to me, a positive review is almost a testimonial. How can I leverage those beyond TripAdvisor?
Yeah, there are various ways to do that. The TripAdvisor, you can actually celebrate, the properties can celebrate their success on TripAdvisor by posting sort of snippets of reviews or a summary of their ranking on TripAdvisor, their popularity index on their own website. And again, we put widgets and codes in the owner centre. They can just lift up and pop straight on their own website. And this means these are automatically updated, so people can see the first few words of every review for the last 5 reviews. I mean, there's various different sort of depth that they can go. But the idea is, we know that hotel reviews are hugely influential in the purchase decision. So you know people are going to be looking for them. So why not put that information on your own website when people are making that purchase decision, to keep them in your own purchase funnel, rather than losing them while they go and do research on another site and perhaps ultimately be sidetracked into booking another way. So again, we offer quite a lot of free tools and widgets depending on the depth of the content that a hotelier wants to post. And we obviously work with an awful lot of third parties as well, be it from travel tourism organisations to travel websites, where they put bits of review information again. And it's for the same reason, to reassure travellers, to help them make their decision, and to keep them in their own booking path before losing them while they're doing their research.
Right. So, Karen, I want to ask you, as if I were a hotelier, the amount of opportunities, the amount of things that I can do with my TripAdvisor listing are huge, and it's almost like I could have a full-time job managing and keeping that up to date. If there were one or two things that I should focus on with my listings and the reviews that I have on TripAdvisor, what would you recommend those be?
Absolutely. The first thing is go to the owner centre, register, make sure the basic information is correct, that your hotel is the amenities, the property description, and load the photos. And then, so that would be one. And then the second one is keep an eye on the reviews and respond to the appropriate ones. You don't have to respond to every one, but use your discretion. But as I said, acknowledge the very good ones and also respond to the bad ones. And that will do a huge power and give travellers so much reassurance and engage them more on your property page on TripAdvisor.
Right. Karen, thank you very much for sharing your views with us on VTV. We appreciate you joining us today.
Thank you very much, John.
To all the viewers out there, be sure to post your comments on this episode of VTV and subscribe to our feed to receive more valuable insights from industry experts. If you would like to suggest topics that you would like us to cover in future episodes, feel free to email us at vtv@vfmleonardo.com with your suggestions.